Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
So welcome everyone to another session of the Microsoft Excel Toronto Meetup group. We are in May already, and this session today is part of our Excel Essentials series dedicated to those of you who are just starting your learning journey in Excel or you want to revisit the basics. These sessions are prepared focusing on the essentials of Excel, the fundamentals, learning the fundamentals so that then you can grow from there. Today we have Anne Walsh all the way from Ireland, right? And
West of Ireland, yes. Yep.
yes, so it's late for Anne. Thank you so much, Anne, for staying up a little bit late today to be with us. It's a pleasure to have you. I
Delighted.
will pass on the stage in a few minutes to you. Just have a couple of announcements to show you here. As mentioned, the session will be recorded, will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Feel free to check it out. If you look for Excel Toronto Meetup on YouTube, you will find us. You will also receive an email in a couple of days containing this PDF, these slides, and any files that Anne may share with us. And so from there you will have the recording, the link for the video recording, and you can watch again and follow the steps if you want to. Meet our team. Besides myself, Celia Alves, I am a business analyst and advocate with Cheatcast, which happens to have become our lead sponsor in the next year, in the past year. But the group has been running for more than, it's going to be, oh, is it today? I think today is our 6th anniversary exactly. So it is today
Oh,
6 years that we ran the first session back in 2019 at a Microsoft store in the Yorkdale Mall here in Toronto. Um, the store no longer exists. They closed the store when during the pandemic, and they haven't reopened it. But in those days we were meeting in person, and then we went online, and the group grew all over the world with members and presenters joining us from different parts of the world. So we have kept online for now. That's how we have been operating. And like I mentioned, in a couple of days, we will upload the video. We will send out an email. You have access to the files. Grania, she's not with us today. She's been with us since day one, and she's been helping to co-host in the past years, a couple of years. And Aurora, thank you, Aurora, for being with us today as well. Aurora
hello.
joined us recently. She works as a freelance consultant, and so if you need Excel work, IT as well, any IT, Aurora, you can do a little bit of an introduction. You explain better than I do. What
Thank
is
you,
it?
Celia. Basically, anything that's related to Power Platform. My background is in software development, Microsoft tools in principle, but not necessarily. Please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. I will post my link later. And enjoy the session today.
Thank you, Aurora. And Grania, she's the co-founder of the Women in Excel group on LinkedIn. So if you are a woman and want to connect with other women in Excel, feel free to check that out. Our next sessions will be May 28th and June 11th, and coincidentally and very conveniently for us, both of them will be about Power Query, which is one of the most requested topics from our audience. And the first session in May by Alejandra Orvat will be more about how to use Power Query, taking advantage of the user interface, of all the buttons and the ribbon that Power Query offer us, and learn how to use that and what we can do with that, the magic we can do with that, which is a lot already. And then the second session in June 11th will be with Shandip Chabra. He published a book recently about Power Query beyond the user interface. So it's more about how to tweak the M language, how to tweak the code generated by Power Query if we want to go further and be able to solve more complex problems with Power Query. I totally recommend both of the sessions. If you can join us, you will learn a lot, and at least come and learn what Power Query is if you are not familiar with Power Query yet, because that will change your perspective of what you can do in Excel. Sheetcast is our lead sponsor, as I mentioned. Sheetcast is an add-in for Excel that allows us to create web apps out of Excel. So we build the data structure and we build the calculations in Excel using all the features and all the knowledge we already have about Excel functions and whatnot in Excel. And then the add-in allows us to create web pages where we can display our information, we can create interactive forms, we can create interactive reports and all that. It's really fun. And actually we just ran a training last month, and we are about to run another workshop about Sheetcast, how to use Sheetcast to create web applications. If you are interested in that, just send me a message. I'm happy to give you the information of how to register for the workshop. It's free of charge. I think I mentioned that. So we are just wanting to have people learn how to use the add-in. And we have other sponsors. Solving Excel is my consulting business. MrExcel.com. I believe all of you will be familiar with Mr. Excel, his YouTube channel, his bookshop. And I have other news about him, his support to our community in the next few slides, and the Women in Excel LinkedIn group. Other resources, there's a newsletter, there's my YouTube channel. You will get all these on your email when I send the email in a couple of days. So you can just come in and check all these links. Like I mentioned, there's 20%, the partnership with MrExcel.com gives 20% off all the digital books he has available on his digital bookstore for our members. So the code is not available on the slide because it's exclusive for members, so that people, when watching on YouTube, they need to come and check us on Meetup. So log in as a member on our Meetup group, go to the discussions area, you will find the discount code there for any of the books, and you can see some of the books here. They are quite popular and great books for us Excel users. And if you are looking for help with Excel, you are stuck in a formula, you are stuck in a problem that you need to solve and you are not quite sure how to do it. One way I recommend you to find that help is going to the Mr. Excel forum, mrexcel.com/board. And you will find a community of people there who have fun just answering Excel questions for free. Imagine that. So take advantage of that. It's where I started when I first started learning Excel. I got a lot of help from there. I also helped a couple of people in different forums at some point in my journey, not doing that as much currently. Okay. Oh, I clicked, and it sent me to the website. So just there. Let's see. There you go. So that's it for today in terms of announcements. Thank you for your patience and thank you for joining us. We are going to start now. I'm just going to pull up Anne's bio and read her bio to you. I had that before, but it went away. So just a second there. And today we are learning about charts. What are the first steps? What are the most important things someone needs to know when starting to build a chart? So today it's not about advanced charts. We do have other sessions about charts that you can find on our YouTube channel. Today will be about the ABC of charts. And Anne Walsh, thank you for being here again, is a freelance trainer, 25 years specializing in Excel and Power BI. She lives in the west of Ireland. She has written several books on Excel and is waiting patiently for Hollywood to option some of them. Good luck with it. We can always dream. Wouldn't that be fun? A
That would be
book,
great.
a movie about, well, there's movies about emojis. Why can't there be a movie about Excel? That would be fun, I'm sure. Her most recent book, Hate Excel, Learn to Love the Software That Can Transform Your Confidence and Career, was an Amazon bestseller. She liked to put the fun in functions. There may be some awful puns. You will have to be warned. Okay, thank you for the warning. And that's it. And thank you so much for being with us. And the stage is yours.
Thank
Let
you.
us know what else I missed. And yeah,
No,
teach us
that's
about
lovely.
charts.
That's great. Okay, let me just start by sharing my screen here first. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is about charting data. And I suppose one of the things that I kind of am a bit obsessed with is I work as a trainer. Whoopsie daisies now. It's great fun. All right. So because I work as a trainer, I often work with, say, with people who are working, let's say, on the, basically they're kind of beginners, to say the least. All right. And let me see now. This PowerPoint is playing up on me. There we go. It's all working fine. So what we need to do is, I want to just look at how you would chart your data. Okay, let's do it here now. Okay, so what we're hoping to cover today, all right, is basically how to, first of all, how to choose a chart for your data. How are you going to do it? And my suggestion is going to be basically to let Excel choose something. Okay, some of the main charts and when you would use them, how to create a chart. It's all about the data. How to update it if you need to. And if we have time, we'll have a look at some other charts as well. Right? But I suppose the main thing is I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody, let's say you've started with Excel and somebody says, oh, do a chart with that. And where do you even begin with it? Okay. Just a very brief thing about me. I know Celia kind of said there about that one, but just a little bit about me. Also known as the Excel Lady. I didn't pick that name. Live in the west of Ireland. I have a website called excellady.com, freelance trainer, written some books as well. There's Excel Survival Kit. And I was looking there at the books that Celia was sharing, and I think I have a lot of them already.
You have your books with Mr. Excel, or some of them with MrExcel.com.
Yeah, one of them, the Excel Survival Kit, is that one that's there.
Is there.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can get it with 20% off if you use our code.
That's it. Also book boon as well, and I love movies and I love puns and I do love crime fiction as well. And we have one son and he's a software engineer. Okay, and please do connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay, so how to create a chart, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it first, but then I'm going to obviously do demo on a number of different types of charts. So first of all, you I like to say, do the Judge Judy thing of the data, only the data, nothing but the data. So when you're choosing a chart, make sure you only highlight the data you need. Because I think sometimes people go in and they say, I'm going to highlight all this, and they close their eyes and they say, Excel, please give me a chart. And Excel, will often say, that's too complex to do, I will not do it. So just make sure you're only selecting the data that you need, okay? And if you're new to charts, a great in to charts is using recommended charts, which is where I'm going to start today. Right. So first of all, we're going to start with the much loved but much maligned pie chart. And a pie chart is fine if you have maybe, let's say, one set of numbers and 45 categories. Any more than that, you kind of should be looking at using a different type of chart. Right? And I do remember being at a conference once where a guy was giving a talk on data visualization, and I have to say, I don't think I've seen so much visceral hate for anything as that guy had for pie charts. He really, really hated them. If you want to show trends over time, a line chart is a really good fit for that. So things like, for example, let's say the COVID cases, climate change. I remember seeing a great chart of a lake in Ireland, and they tracked the temperature from the early 70s up until now. You could see the temperature of the lake slowly rising. And a line chart is brilliant for stuff like that. Okay. You also have your bar and column chart, and that's very good for comparing values. So there's your column chart. and then you have your bar chart as well. Now, there's a lot of other different charts in Excel, but the reality is that a lot of the time you're going to be using some variation of these. And if you're new to charts, this is a really good starting point. Okay. Of course, there is always, sorry, graph. Sorry, I had to put that in. So we're going to ramble over to an Excel chart, but you mustn't worry because it won't be too difficult. All right. Sorry. I did warn you. about the terrible puns. All right. So let me just. All right. So let us go to our Excel chart here. I'm going to just start with the bar charts. Okay. So part of the thing you need to do when you're setting up a chart is try and have your data set up usually in a tabular format. Excel loves tabular formats. And a little keyboard shortcut you can use is if you click on the data and do Control-Shift-8, that selects what they call the region. Now, if you're looking at the data and thinking, I don't even know where to start, a very good starting point is to come up to Insert. And then if you come over here to the middle, you see there it says Recommended Charts. And then Excel will kind of say, these are some of the charts I think you need. And let's say what I'm going to do is I'm just going to maybe come down to a bar chart down here. And I'm going to pick a clustered bar, no particular reason. And there, your instant chart. All right. Now, when you have the chart set up, there's a couple of things that make it much easier. You have to remember your user every time you're looking at this. So if I click my chart title, give something descriptive in the chart title. Okay, so let's say something's going to be, let's say, books versus audiobooks, and just include that if there's any dates involved, put the dates into it. The second thing is you want to try and have your legend, which is the key. See, let me do it down here at the bottom. Yes, it will. Brilliant. Right. You do the key. So if you come down here to the legend and just go to this one and just put the legend on top. Okay. Now, the reason for this is that when people are looking at a chart, people's eyes will tend to track like this. See there? Okay. That's not the mark of Zorro, just so you know. I was just thinking it looks like the mark of Zorro, but it's not. People's eyes track. So they want to know, first of all, what the chart is about. Like you tell them that in the title, and then they want to know what the colors are about. And that should be enough, if you like, just to get them up and running. Okay, so you've got the charts done here. Now over here, beside this one, these are the 3 bits you need to manage your chart. So the first bit here, plus, this is where you can customize what they call the chart elements. Okay, so let's say I can add in my data labels. That's probably a bit, cluttered, to say the least. Maybe have a data table. And this is, this is where you can kind of amend the various bits of your chart. And the second one down is where you can change your chart styles. I like to call this the try before you buy option. So as I rest my mouse on each of these, all right, this one I call heavy on the toner, all right, because if you send that to the printer, that's your toner gone, all right. Okay, and then the color, see there you can choose the different colors, and you can kind of, choose different options for it. So that's just kind of like this one. Then you have your third option here. And I must admit, for the filters, the jury's out a little bit for me on these filters. So you can actually filter the data. It's either select all, I just want to show audiobooks, and go to apply. And the reason why I kind of go, nah, is because if you look at a regular filter, you'll notice that that little icon will normally change. Whereas if you have a filter on the chart, there is no change to it. Okay? And I just personally think that there's probably a good reason, Microsoft had a good reason for doing it, but I kind of think, yeah, I'd like to see the whole lot. All right, so that's just a little bit, let's say on our, let's say a bar chart or column chart and using recommended charts. Right. Now I'm just going to look at pie charts. We're on to the next one, the much maligned pie chart. Anybody got any questions at this point? All right, everybody okay?
I haven't seen any comments, but if you have any questions or observations, feel free to type in the chat.
Do please.
Yeah, or you can turn on your mic when Anne asks for questions. We have a couple of thumbs up, so it's going.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
It's clear for now.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I want to come up here to my pie chart. Again, just the data, all the data, nothing but the data. Control Shift and 8. Now, sometimes when you do the Control Shift and 8, it calls up a thing called your outline. Okay, so it's like you get a whole bunch of extra stuff on the screen. If that happens, just make sure you select the data. And then I come up here to Insert, and I'm going to go straight to pie charts because I know I want a pie chart. Now, when I come to pie charts, I have my pie here, 3D pie, and I have to do it every time. Donuts, all right? But I'm just going to pick, let's say, this slice here, all right? Put my legend up at the top. There we go. And it's up there. Now, if you want to add percentages to that, the easiest way to add percentages is just to come up here to your chart design and choose one of the options with percentages. And you need to make sure your percentages add up to 100. There was a case of a couple of years ago of a news broadcaster with a pie chart. One slice was 75%, the other slice was 85%. Yeah, as I say, don't do that. All right. So just if you use your, if you use the percentage options from the charts, that's going to kind of like basically solve that problem for you. The other thing just to say sometimes with pie charts is that sometimes when you do a pie chart, it comes in looking like that. All right. So it's basically a circle as opposed to a pie. And usually if you just come up to, let's say, switch row column, that will often solve it. Now, I won't say it will always solve it in all cases, because that wouldn't be true, but it should be, often enough, it will solve it as well. All right. Now, I'm just going to go to line charts. So just a reminder again, charts or line charts are about trends over time, right? And I can come up here to this one. And for this one, I'm just going to go to, let's say I just do the data for the first 3 quarters. Okay. So again, I can just come up to Insert, and I'm going to choose a line chart here up beside it. Right? And see there, I've got a bunch of different line charts. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this one. And there's my chart title, nice and tidy. And I'm looking down here, because it doesn't always do this. And I'm kind of thinking spirits, wines, beer, soft drinks, cola. I prefer to see quarters there. All right, so I prefer to see the change over time. So again, for that one, what you just need to do is if you just come up here to your chart design and just go switch row column. Okay, and then you have it. And then I'm just going to put legend, my little legend up to the top. Right. There we go. Now, what you could also do as well, and if I click on the little plus here, is that sometimes you can add a trend line. All right, so see there, go to the trend line. And let's say just do linear. And you might have to base it, for example, on wines. And I click OK. Right. See, it's probably there somewhere. And I'll just, yeah, so it'll be there somewhere, right? But let me just knock it off as well.
Yeah, it's because wines are already aligned. So the
aligned,
trend,
yeah.
So a trend is coinciding with.
Yeah.
With that one. If you choose another one, if you choose one of the blue ones, it's probably.
Yeah, great stuff. All right. I usually choose spirits, but every now and then I like to mix it up a bit. Let's choose spirits. There. So you can see then the trend based overall on spirits. Okay. Now, once I've got my chart done, and let's say what I want to do is I want to then add on more data. If you click on it, and then if you look over here on the left-hand side, all right, if you come down to the bottom corner, see there, you wait for it to change. See the little black, and then you can just drag it across. All right. And that's not the only way to add your data to it, but I think if you're kind of starting out, that's possibly one of the easiest ways to do it. If your data is done as a table, which this data is here, so I'm just going to delete this and try this one. So if your data is done as a table, okay, I'm just going to format this a table, insert, and then table. Okay. And if you make a chart from that, so you see at the moment it's going up to November. All right. So I come up here to insert, and I choose a line chart. And there we got that one there. And then if I come down here and just add in data at the bottom, all right, I just could copy and paste it, but I might just type it in, sometimes just as easy. And let's say, all right. So you can see then that your data updates there as well, right? So you can either use the method here of just kind of moving the square box to get it to expand, or else if your data is in a table, when you add it to the table, it comes up automatically, all right? Now, okay, any questions at this point? So far, so good?
No,
No.
we only have someone cheering for the beer. That's Anthony there.
Stuff. Right. Now, then sometimes, okay, when I come down here to this one, then let's say using control to select. Sometimes, you want to graph your data, but you don't want to graph everything. All right. It's like you just want the edited highlights. Okay. So what you can do in that case is that you use the control key just to select the ranges you want. Now, a little tip on this is that if you look up here, you see there I've got my years up at the top. Right? If you leave the cell here blank, because you can, every now and then what you find is that Excel will do is that it looks at a year and says, oh, it's a number and I must make a chart of it, and then you end up with series. Whereas if you just leave that cell blank and then select it, generally most of the time it will just pick up on just the years. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to highlight the first block. I'm then going to highlight my second range. So what I do is that before I go to highlight the ranges afterwards, the non-contiguous ranges, fun fact, is I hold down the control key, keep it pressed down, and then I highlight the second one, second range. And then I'm just going to go, let's say, just do production costs as well. Now, just to bear in mind, if you accidentally click on a blank cell, Excel will think, oh, you want to put that in your graph as well, and it'll try to graph it, right? So if you find that you've kind of selected, more than what you want, it's probably a good idea to go back to it. Okay, and now I'm just going to come up here to insert. And one of the things that's been interesting here is that, let's say if I do a recommended chart, watch what happens here when I do a recommended chart when you select with the control key. Okay, so let's say just give me this option here and click OK. Yeah, of course it's working today, all right? But the amount of times I've done that and it hasn't worked, all right, which is totally typical. You just need to make sure you've clicked on the chart and then come up here to your change chart type. And then you can choose on another chart if you want to. So, for example, I might just choose a line chart and just click that one. There we go. So just to bear that in mind, that's another way if you need to, just to change the chart. So if you just want to graph some of the data, you can just use your, just use the control key, and then you can also change the chart types as well. Now, let me just go to this one. Okay. Now, one of the things that I think can be very confusing for beginners sometimes is if you are doing these regular charts, you see there I've got small amounts of data, relatively small amounts of data, and the insert chart feature will work fine with those. Okay, so just to bear that in mind, insert and chart will work fine with those. However, if you have large data sets, okay, what you will probably need to do Because if I try to graph that, yeah, it would just, I'd say Excel would just have a little fainting fit, right? So normally what you need to do is that if you've got large data sets, you need to kind of squash it down into, let's say, a pivot table, okay? So I've got this one here. I've got some coffee data, and I click here. And if I want to chart with this, I just come up here, let's say, to pivot table analyze. And then I can just go to pivot chart. Okay. And then I can choose, let's say, the different chart that I want here. So I might just choose, for example, I like a bar chart. And then I click OK. There's my little bar chart. And I'm just going to resize it a bit. I don't need the total. And it's kind of a bit of a thing here that when you're doing, like, for example, the data is actually organized from largest to smallest in the chart. But when it comes out in the pivot table, when it comes out in this, it often is, you see that it comes the other way around. So a way around that is you could obviously sort it a different way up here, but another way around it is to click here and do a right click and format axis. Okay. And then if I come over here, there's an option here that says categories in reverse order. So it kind of flips it a little bit as well. And then I would probably, in that one, probably add data labels. You know, you want to kind of not have it too cluttered either, as much as possible. So let's say, so for that one, that would be, let's say, our pivot table. So if you have larger data sets, and I suppose, would you say maybe, Celia and Aurora, would you say maybe 100 rows you need to maybe put into a pivot table? Or would you have a thought on number, data size?
I do not have an opinion on that. I don't work a lot with charts.
Okay. Right.
But I usually do create the pivot tables first.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I create some kind of summarizing on the side and then use that as so I already go for that from the beginning. I never realized that Excel had a hard time summarizing. I know that we can do the chart directly from the table, but never realized that it was a challenge for Excel at some point to summarize that.
Yeah, it's, you normally then have to summarize it then as well. All right. So, and just to bear in mind as well that when you're doing a pivot chart, not all the options, like if I come over here to, let's say, my, where's it gone again? There we go, design. Let's say if I do a chart with this again, then just do pivot chart. Like, not all the options are available to you. Not all the options that are there are available to you for pivot tables. So sometimes you might have to do like an interim step where you might have another data set that kind of links to the pivot table. Like if I go here, let's say to tree map, well, this has changed very recently. You see, you're told there you can't create it. So just to bear that in mind, that I always kind of think the ones on the left towards the top half, you probably can run a chart off the pivot table, but towards the bottom half, I think because they're newer, okay, except, yeah, they're probably newer, that one. All right. Okay. So,
and would you like to also show people how they can get rid of those extra filter buttons?
Oh, yeah,
that
good
we
point,
get.
Yeah. Okay, lovely.
Yeah,
because some people really hate
very
those.
Annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it doesn't bother me, but there's other people, it's like I really hate them. All right. So what you could do is if you click, let's say, let me do the chart again. There we go now. There we go. Do my little bar chart. Leave it here for the time being. All right. And if you really hate those, okay, if you just come up here, let's say to, let's say, click on the chart again. And see over here, it says field buttons. Okay, so if I go over to the field buttons, and then you see there's an option there that says hide all if you want to remove them all. And that's them gone. You probably don't need that one there as well. All right. Does that make you happy now, Celia? It does.
Yeah, it's just so much cleaner.
Yeah, some people really hate
Thank you.
That's all right. I think some people feel like that. You know, you do like, convert numbers to text and the little green things that come up. Some people really hate those as well. Really hate those. Right. How are we doing for time?
We're good. We still
good.
have a lot of time. Yeah, like 20
Okay,
minutes,
good.
25 minutes still.
Okay, lovely. All right. Okay, so let's say then we have this one here, which is going to be, let's say, our different pivot charts there. This one here, let's say we're going to have a combo chart. Okay, and a combo chart is basically where you would have, like, say, two charts together. Okay, and for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to, let's say, go to this data. Same one again. So I'm going to choose the ones up here. All right. Yeah, that's true, actually. The new pivot by functions. Yeah, that's a good point as well. So go up to this one, the control key here, and then the total production costs. And let's say I do my income as well. Okay. And then I come up here to insert, and I go to recommended charts. And this is, I do think recommended charts are one of the easiest way to create charts. And then I just come up here, let's say, to all charts. I'm going to come down here to the left. Okay, and I'm going to choose my combo. Okay. And I then get this option here. Okay, so you have your clustered column, this one, and I'm going to put my line on a secondary axis. Now, what combo charts are really good for is that if you have data that's a mixture of numbers and percentages, okay, and you want kind of like if you have your all on the same chart and your percentages in large numbers, obviously you won't be able to see the percentages. Whereas if you kind of can use it with, put it on a secondary axis and then do it as a line, it actually comes out much better. Okay, so a combo chart would just be the two of them in here together, right? So there you go there. And just another little trick you can do here as well. If I click on my chart title, if I want to make my chart title dynamic, what I can do is I can click on the chart title, and then you just need to go up to your formula bar, and if you just go equals, right? And then if I click on this cell up here, okay, and just press enter, see there, it makes it dynamic. And I'm just going to say not very profitable. ELC. And that makes then dynamic. Right. So like if you want to kind of make your chart titles a little bit more dynamic, that's also an option. Okay. Now I just want to show you two more charts. All right. So the one we're going to look at next is we're going to look at what I call the baby charts. All right. People call them Sparklines, but to me they will always be the baby charts. So, and I suppose an in-cell option. So if I click here, and let's say what I want to do is I want to capture the data that's in this line in a little chart. Okay, so I click here. I then come up to insert. And then I'm going to come over here to my Sparklines, which are here. Okay. And I'm going to choose a line one here. Okay, so the data range is going to be this one. And then I click OK. And then what I can do is I can customize this a little bit, because I get my Sparkline up here. And I can change the Sparkline color. Maybe change it to a purple. I can add like a high point, first point. If I want to put in the last point, I want to put in any negative points, put in a marker color, and then I can just drag it down. So that's kind of like your baby charts. And then if you want to change that to a column, you can come over this to this one. Yeah, I think actually that works quite well. Let me just try the line chart as well. All right. So those are your Sparklines, or kind of your in-cell charts, or as I like to call them, the baby charts. All right. So they're kind of like, you can just put it beside it. Right.
And they are dynamic as well, right? So if we
they are
change...
dynamic as well. Yes. Yeah. So if I change this, let's say I have a big surge in spirits, 30,000. They'll see their updates automatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're very nice.
They are, yeah, aren't they? Yeah. All right, we might just put one with a little spike on it here. Let's put in maybe a 35,000 in this one. Okay, so to get a little spike on it, and then you can click on it, and let's say I can add, if I want to add like a high point on it as well, and just I can do a little bit of formatting on it. I want to. I suppose one thing you need to be aware of though is that to remove them, you just need to do a right click. It doesn't have to be right click, and let's say do clear as well. See, there's Sparklines, and then just let's say clear the selected Sparklines. Because I know people have sometimes tried to delete them and then they won't go. So it's just you need to clear them that way. All right, the last one then I want to show you. I was going to say probably this evening where I am and this afternoon where you are is this is a nice little trick where if you want to, let's say, do like little combine emojis and let's say a repeat key. Okay, so I'm going to use a thing called the repeat function. So it's not strictly speaking a chart, but I think it's a nice little effect. So I would just go equals repeat. Okay, and the repeat key does what it says on the tin, repeats what you want to repeat. And I'm just going to open quotation marks and I do my Windows key and let's say full stop. And it calls up, let's say, one of my little emojis here. Lovely one. And let's say I'm just going to put a little thumbs up or smiley face. Do a little smiley face. Okay. Close this one, comma. And then if I want to put, this is the number of times I want to repeat. And then just close my brackets. All right. And then I can just drag it down then as well. Okay. Right. So that can be just a nice, and if you want that, obviously then, like you say, see if that's dynamic. So I decide that we decided to have a purge in the finance department and we're going to bring it down to 5 people. There we go. It's down to 5 people as well. Okay. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover with you. You'll have the files there. The instructions are in the files. And I just want to see if anybody's got any questions at this point.
I haven't seen any questions, but feel free to turn on your mic or put in any questions you have.
Yes, do.
I had one question on that maybe people will help some people on the combo chart. How do we let the audience know which axis, vertical axis, is for what?
Okay.
How
all right.
Can we put in a axis legend or something like that to help people with that?
Let's say if I go back to this one, let's say what you could do maybe is if you want to, let's say maybe put in, let's say data labels, maybe go to your data labels here. But I think like if you look here, you have the legend on it. You put the legend at the top.
Yes, but for example, what are those values? The 250,000 and the 750,000, are those dollars or
okay,
things or percentage? Or the percentage would not be, but just we can have.
Okay.
Try the axis title.
Yeah. So probably let's say click on this one.
Click on the axis and then there as well.
Titles.
Axis titles, and then just let's say this one, and you could click on this one here.
Exactly.
Okay. And
so there's more options there that people can explore. Just wanted to make people aware of that. There's always a way. If we need something in our chart, there's always a way of putting it there. There's always a way also of removing stuff. I would say sometimes there's too much stuff we don't want. And if Excel puts it there, we don't want, we can get rid of it.
Or we can hide it.
Yeah. But then that's where you go next, right? First you learn how to build the basics, and then once you start putting attention to what you are doing and want to make it look better, then you go for other training sessions.
I think the thing is that, like, if people can at least get the basic, do you know what I mean? If people can understand that there's certain types of charts that are better for other things, And I think if you're new to charts, the thing I do like is the recommended charts. You know what I mean? Because it does kind of give you like a starting point. Like if I go back here to this one, let's say to my column charts here, and I go to recommended charts. I mean, it's going to see there, it's going to recommend a line chart to me, or like a column or a bar chart. It's not really going to recommend a pie chart. Like there are a lot of people who think a pie chart is the answer for everything. So I think part of it is just kind of being able to know, okay, look, depending on my data, you know, a chart, different types of chart might be better fit what I want to do.
Yeah, and I liked how you explained everything using only what's in the ribbon. For some reason, I learned a lot about charts, watching different videos and whatnot, where people go into all the complex dialog boxes that have all the options there. And when actually most of the things are in the ribbon, and I had not even realized that we have most of the options there in the ribbon, easy to use.
Yeah, I mean, they are easy to use, and like if you, like you said, there's always a way. Like if I, for example, come back to my column chart here, do a quick, I could also do it from here as well, of course. You know, like if you do a right click on the different elements, like if I click on this element, I can do a right click, and then I can kind of go into format it, change it, or I can change the fill here if I want to, change the color. You can add textures. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't add those textures to anything, to be honest with you.
They are so old.
They're still, they're there, you know, and you've got the gradients as well. But I kind of think if you're starting out, you know, it's what's kind of important is that you can actually get up even a basic chart up and running. And then exactly like you said, Celia, you'll start to think, yeah, wouldn't it be nice if I could do this? Or Eric, that is wrong. The fish texture is not cool. I'm sorry, it's just not. All right. I think the chipboard or the paper is much better. That's what you should be going for. Yeah. So I think that's really where, because I just see so many people in the trainings I do, and you know, they see somebody who does a chart and they actually think that they're, you know, they're an absolute genius. And then you say, okay, this is how you do it, and it's like, oh yeah, I've now joined the ranks of those geniuses because I can now do a chart. So, you know, then I think all the fun stuff comes in, you know, like the Barbosa and the Peltiers and all those people can do. But I think for anybody starting out, that's, you know, that's where I want to kind of direct this particular training at.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I loved it. I learned a couple of things.
Brilliant.
And I have a question.
Sure.
For the PLC chart, for example, where you just select the data, not all the data, but just certain items.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to put that chart in another tab where this data is not visible. Is that possible?
That should, you should just be able to move it. Yeah, no problem. Copy it into another chart. Copy it in another sheet.
Okay, so I create a chart like you demonstrated, and then I just copy that chart and put it in another tab.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Or even cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Control X. Yeah. Cut it and paste it.
Or even cut it. Yeah. Control X. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Even better. Yeah.
Perfect. And one more question. Is it possible to include a logo on the chart? Maybe like in the top corner or something.
You mightn't do it in the top corner. You might just add that as a picture, like and then group it. Or else another thing you could do as well, which I've seen done, is let me just go back here to this one, is that if you had a picture, all right, you could actually copy and paste the picture. Like, see the way there I've selected, I don't think I have a picture to hand, but like, see there I've selected there. If you had a picture, you could just copy and paste a picture into that.
Okay, that will show.
Just a
put
simple
the picture.
thing. Just having the logo next to the title, right? Just a
simple
thing. Not in the chart. Let's keep it simple.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah. No, I would just kind of.
So let's say So we know that this chart is for a particular company and they want their logo there.
I just copy and paste it on, and then probably do a grouping. You know,
so it has to be a picture.
It has to be a picture. Yeah, has to be a picture.
A JPEG or.
Yeah, JPEG or one of those ones. Yeah.
PNG. format. Okay, thank you.
All right. Or you might be able to do, see what says format plot area. You might be able to do, like, see the fill over there. You might be able to go to this one. And let's say maybe, see there, do a picture. You do maybe just, if you want, oh, no, terrible one there in the picture.
That's the background.
That's the background. If you want it as a background, but if you just want in the corner, corner, then just it would be, yeah, let me go back to this one, no fill. There we go. I will just put it as a little picture. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I see people saying thank you. Tom is congratulating you for good use of the focus cell feature, which I also
I'm showing
noticed.
that to everybody. Yeah, I'm showing that to everybody. Yeah.
And Tom is also recommending looking at the pivot by function for other ways of using,
great point.
summarizing the data for charts. And and people are saying that tips were useful that they can apply immediately.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much, everyone. If I missed someone's question, let me know, but I think I went through it all. And it was a great session, and it's something that we can send people to watch on our YouTube channel if they are looking for just the basics, and start from here.
They want to get up and running. Yeah, if they want to get up and running with charts, you know, you have the file. I have instructions on the file as well, and
Thank you so much for making that the resource available. The file will be sent along with the video, the link for the video, in a couple of days, usually along the weekend. Once the video is up, I'll send out an email telling you where the file is, telling people where the file is.
And that's a weekend sorted. You know, that's people's weekend sorted then, that is doing charts.
Yeah, and they can start their week with a new skill.
Yay! Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, and let people know again where they can find you. If there's any way to connect with you, what's the best way? If people want to hire you for training, if they like this session, how they can reach out to you.
Well, you can either email me directly at Anne at the, let me pop it into the chat. That's probably the easiest way to get me. All right, I'll just put my email address in there, but I've also put my contact details on the file as well. All right. Or if you just want to connect me on LinkedIn, search for Anne Walsh or search for the Excel Lady, and you'll find me on LinkedIn as well, where I'm lucky to be part of the Women in Excel group as well, which is a great group. Yeah. So if you are a woman and you love Excel, come along. You will enjoy it.
Yes, it's a great group to be part of.
It's a great group.
Okay, there's the information there as well. Thank you so much again to everyone also who joined us, especially those who joined us for the first time. I hope it was useful. I hope you can join us other times in the future. And please come and join us for the for the Power Query sessions. They will be fun. As always, all the sessions are fun. There's always something new to learn from there. So I hope to see you there. Thank you again. Have a good night or a good day, depending on where you are. Thank you.
Mind yourselves. All right. Take care.